What's going on, Laker fans and haters? So, Coast here is talking about the Lakers preview in the season. This is not the off-season a lot of Laker fans were hoping for. But you know what? If there's a down season, at least we know who the real fans are. Some of these people are just going to jump off the planet, unfortunately. But it's better to not have those kinds of people. But yes, the Lakers did not have the off-season a lot of people were hoping for. A lot of them were dreaming of Dwight Howard, Chris Paul. Not happening. Uh, So what happens instead? Of course, the Lakers went for depth and went for some cheap signings just for depth reasons, and then they had to trade some dead weight, which ended up being Lamar Odom. Now, quick talk. I was about to jump the gun and make a video about Chris Paul coming to the Lakers, and I would have been yelling and pissed off at the camera. And why is because the Lakers would have given up way too much size just to get Chris Paul. And they would be depending way too much on trying to get Dwight Howard, which I don't know how they would have gotten him or tried to trade for him with what they had. I wouldn't see it happening. There'd be no depth, there'd be no size. They traded everything for Chris Paul there, and it would have depended way too much on Dwight Howard. So that trade, yeah, that initially would have pissed me off. Then it gets vetoed by the league. Kind of happy, and at the same time, it's like, wow, the league can now just officially look at a trade and dislike it. That's ridiculous, but it is what it is. Hell, I can still love my Lakers, and of course, Chris Paul eventually goes to the Clippers and with a bunch of players deals. That's off the table. And then they have to trade Lamar Odom because now that Odom knows he wanted to be traded, he's sent to the Dallas Mavericks for pretty much nothing. I think it's a couple draft picks, but draft picks from a playoff team pretty much is nothing, or it means nothing. So, unfortunately, Lamar Odom had to go for nothing, and he had to go because he would have been a cancer with the team. Now you look at the rest of this team, and now the depth is questioned, as well, of course, as the point guard position. Kobe Bryant's injured. We don't even know how healthy he's going to be in the shortened lockout season. And who knows? Who knows what will happen, but quickly talking about the lockout, how many of you actually thought there'd be a season? And actually, because even though I ranted in another video that I thought there wouldn't be a season, my initial prediction was mid-January. Those of you on Twitter know what I'm talking about. I thought about, say, January 16th, 17th, I thought the season would begin there. But they proved me wrong, started it earlier than I thought. And we got a season starting on Christmas Day, so that was my prediction there. But back to the Lakers, yeah, Kobe Bryant is hurt. Then you got, we have a lot of players at small forward. You got Devin Ebanks, of course, now Meta World Peace. It's going to be hard for me to say that. I might be saying Ron Artest on accident. But Meta World Peace on the small forward position, he had a down season last year, very underwhelming. It wouldn't surprise me if one of the rookies, one of the younger players takes his spot at the 3. Possibly could be playing 4, depending on what happens. And then Andrew Bynum down low. He's suspended for the opening few games because of what he did to, I think it was J.J. Barea. I remember he hit someone out of frustration and he got suspended for it. So Bynum is going to be out, but this is going to really depend on Pau Gasol and Andrew Bynum. I know the size needs to get back to where it once was because those two have shown that they can be dominant. Bynum has been injury prone. At the same time, we know what he's very capable of doing. Gasol had a very down postseason. We'll find out if those two can rebound well, not just on the court, but rebound as players because of how they played last spring. It was not very pretty watching the season to the Dallas Mavericks. That whole series was a horror show, to say the least. Then enter Mike Brown. I know I haven't said his name yet, but Mike Brown, of course, the defensive-minded coach, the one who coached the Cavaliers and LeBron James to once the NBA Finals, once the Conference Finals, and, well, once even to the second round. People might say that's one of the worst hires, considering how much they're paying him. I don't like the contract he's getting, but if this team can play defense and fundamental basketball, it won't be that bad. It's been pretty up and down, I think, with how their defense has been. Last year it was pretty horrible at times. They'd collapse. Going at the point guard position, which is the other big piece of importance. We don't know who's going to be playing point guard on a regular basis. Right now, of course, that was a big hole, and Chris Paul was supposed to be the filler based on what Mitch Kupchak wanted. But now you have Steve Blake, who right now I don't think is an answer to anything. He was pretty horrible his first year. And then you got Darius Morris. You got a rookie who I think will have some nice flashes of brilliance, but the lockout, a lot of, the learning curve is tough on the rookies. Thanks to the lockout, he'd be very raw, but I'd like to see his passing abilities. And then you got the veteran Derek Fisher, the old man. Does Fisher have any more gas in the tank? That's the other question. Point guard, a lot of uncertainty. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of inconsistency at the point guard position. But yeah, rounding out the depth, they made some, as I said, veteran cheap signings. You got Josh McRoberts down low, Troy Murphy down low. Well, those guys are younger than Theo Ratliff was last year, and Joe Smith. So that's a good sign. But yeah, they're just going to be role players. We just signed a bunch of role players and former highly touted guys. I think Gerald Green is on the roster, who that was a first round bust. I'm not sure why we signed him, but for depth purposes. Derek Character, I know, is out for some time. He's got some surgery, so unfortunately we don't get to see him very much. Do you let the kids play, let some of those youth play, or some of the bench? Because supposedly the bench has better depth down low than it has in the past with these signings. Still, it's not up to the star quality. But as we learned the last NBA Finals, you don't have to have two All-Stars necessarily. You just got to have one main All-Star and a bunch of above-average players who can work together well. And the Dallas Mavericks, yeah, they've had some guys who were once All-Stars besides Dirk, but some of those guys were way past their prime, but they all worked together as a team. And as I said, they were all well above average, and they worked well together. If they want to build a championship, they're going to need to make some kinds of moves this year, because realistically, my expectations are very low. I mean, what do you guys think? My expectations are very low. I would be happy if we just made the second round of the playoffs. I don't know. Everyone else in the Pacific got better, supposedly, because the Pacific has been a joke. Then the Lakers take a step backward this season. Are they depending on Dwight Howard for the offseason? Maybe they are, because I think the Magic are going to retain Dwight Howard till the end of the year. Work out a sign-and trade somewhere. That would be our only hope if we want to build any championship-caliber team with this group of players. If this team somehow comes short or really low for the postseason, yeah, this team can blow up. I'd have no problem with that. But yeah, this team, they're supposed to get wins, get at least enough. They should at least make the playoffs. There's no excuses for that with the way the West has been. But because of the shortened season, any team that's been horrible in the past can just pop up out of nowhere and squeak the playoffs. It wouldn't surprise me to see 2 or 3 teams that really had low expectations, and they just somehow come out of nowhere because of the shortened season. A lot of teams, had to practice on their own and whatnot. We'll see what happens this year. If you want to, talk about a prediction quickly, NBA Finals. Right now I have the OKC Thunder and the Miami Heat. That's my NBA Finals as of right now. Let me know what you think if you're a neutral fan or, personally, as I said, with the Lakers, if they somehow made the second round, I would consider that as overachieving because this group of players, as of right now, doesn't have what it takes to win a championship. They're way too old. Probably the chemistry is going to be an issue, and Mike Brown in the system, that's going to be an issue as well. The point guard position has too many holes, so personally, I don't have any expectations this year. It's just wait till the off season, wait till next off season, and see what we do out of that. Let me know what you guys think. Go Lakers, and we'll see you guys later. Next time I'll talk about the Lakers will probably be if a move happens, like a trade, or if, say, the team comes short of the playoffs, I'd make a video, or if they're in the playoffs, I would make videos as well. So, see you guys in 2012. Have a Merry Christmas, and got a tough matchup, very tough matchup against the Chicago Bulls. We'll see y'all later, and go Lakers.